The passage for today's daily devotion is taken from Exodus chapter 13, verse 17 onwards. So I will read it for you. Then it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest perhaps the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. And the children of Israel went up in orderly ranks out of the land of Egypt. And moving on to verse 20. So they took their journey from Succoth and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from before the people. I'm continuing in chapter 14. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they turn and camp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, opposite Baal-zephon. You shall camp before it by the sea. And for Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, They are bewildered by the land, the wilderness has closed them in. Then I will harden Pharaoh's heart, so that he will pursue them, and I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so. So as we learn from this passage, when the Israelites left Egypt, so there was a place called Succoth, and if you see that, I'll be showing the videos on how the place looks like. It's a pretty vast area where the Israelites were, around 2 or 3 million people were just walking towards the promised land. So the land is like quite vast, and there is enough place for people to walk comfortably in this path. Then we read in the Bible that God tells them to take a different route. And when they take this different route, initially it is wide enough for the people to walk through. But later when you see this video, you will see that suddenly the mountain ridges at both the sides are pretty steep. It is very, it's not a soft rock, and it's very spiky. So which means that people can't climb over it. And it gets narrow and narrow and narrow. If you see the video, it shows that things are getting pretty dark. You don't see too much of light. And everywhere you turn, it looks like there's a dead end. But only when you keep walking, as like how the pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud would have led the Israelites, it would show that there is a way. Though the eyesight looks like it is completely blocked, once the Israelites were able to follow this pillar of cloud and pillar of fire, they know that there is a way, and then they just have to keep walking and finding out that yes, though it looks like it is blocked, there is a way. So this is what happens throughout this wilderness that the Israelites are crossing on the way to the Red Sea. This is how the land looks like when the Egyptians are crossing Succoth. So as we saw that the land was pretty wide, and now even now when you keep going this road, it looks pretty wide enough. But over a short period of time, now we can see the mountains being tall, but still in the vast distance. So here you can see the route that comes into the Red Sea. So it's called Wadi Watir, and it's a path that leads to the Red Sea, and that side is where you can see Saudi Arabia. So from a broad place where the Israelites could walk with their cattle and the entire families, suddenly when they approach this place, it starts to get narrow, because when they see front, they can only see tall mountains. From here, now we can see a road going left and right, but the Israelites wouldn't be able to see this kind of path during their times. So only when you come towards the end of the rock, you can see that there's a path that leads even further. So even now with our human eyes, things look like there's no way at all. But as we keep getting closer and closer to the edge of the mountains, you find there's a path that just comes across and you can still keep walking. So once we cross those tall cliff mountains, it slowly comes to the sea. From the Red Sea, this is the opening that the Israelites would have come from the wilderness into this beach. So this is a Nueva beach, and as you can see, even here there doesn't seem to be a road that goes through the mountains into the Sukkot and finally Egypt. So this is where the Israelites were camping, and you can see the Red Sea, and that side is the Saudi Arabia mountains. Moses grew up in a palace, so assuming that he knows exactly what is being taught to all the princes and the noble people of Egypt, they would be pretty familiar with the geography that is in and around Egypt. So they would have known about this wilderness where there was just a single path that led to the Red Sea. This was also common knowledge to Pharaoh and also maybe to the leaders of Egypt, because as they say, the Israelites have been locked in this area and the wilderness has shut them in. So let's go and pursue them, because they also know that once you cross through the wilderness, there is just a beach and then there's a sea. So you can't cross a sea and you are just stuck out there. This knowledge would also have been known to Moses. So Moses has already walked from Egypt till Midian without crossing this area, because he knows this area. He avoided this area and he went through the land of the Philistines route to Midian. Now when God told him, or the pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud led through a different route, he would have had some doubt, saying that I know that this route just leads to nothing, it just leads to the sea. But why is God taking us there? But nowhere in the Bible it says that he questioned God. So though he had knowledge about how to go from Egypt till Midian in a safer route, in a dry route, he did not question God. He knew that there is a purpose why God is taking him through that route. When the Israelites, they notice that Pharaoh is coming behind them, and they say that why have you brought us out here? He doesn't give in to fear. He just says that today you will see the salvation of God. So he had the trust in God that God would make a way. So if you can see here, it shows the sand and the stones which were burnt because the pillar of fire was on top of them. So they are like solid at the moment, and it is completely melded together, the sand and the stones. If you see here, a person is trying to hit the sand, but the sand does not give way because it has been melted based on the heat of the pillar of fire. As we see in the Bible, it says that God made a strong eastern wind to blow, which will probably start from Saudi Arabia side and coming to the Egypt side. So a strong wind blowing so hard that it split the water to each side and causing a dry land to appear. If the wind was so strong to even part the sea and to make the land dry, so the force would have been very, very strong, and it kept blowing for throughout the night. And if you see, when the Israelites started to walk on the dry land, there was wind, a heavy, strong wind blowing from the other side, but it did not affect them. They were able to just walk through that wind in a very calm manner, and they were able to cross through the Red Sea into the other side with all their families, with all the livestock. I was seeing a video of one of my favorite prophets, Robin D. Bullock, and he told that when Pharaoh saw the sea being parted, he thought that because the Egyptians considered the Pharaoh as God, that even the sea considered him as God, and they have parted for him, and they're asking him to go and attack the Israelites. So he was led to thinking in this manner, and that's why he allowed his army to go behind the Israelites. The Egyptians would have thought, okay, let's slaughter all Israelites in the Red Sea and make the Red Sea really red because of the blood of Israelites. So with that false sense of bravado, they entered the Red Sea, forgetting all that has happened in the past when God brought different plagues to them. But as they go into the Red Sea, we see the Bible says that God looked at them from the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. So it actually means that God started to hurl brimstones and hail at them. And the Bible says that the wheels came out from the chariots, and they were not able to ride well. If you see some of the archaeology that was done in the Red Sea, it says that it was a purely sandy floor. So if the wheels had come out, obviously the chariots would not be able to work properly, and it would have been a mayhem for the Egyptians to even try to ride there. So God caused confusion among those armies of Pharaoh, and you have to remember that these were some of the mighty men of Pharaoh, the best of his army people. And they entered into the Red Sea, and once Moses was able to put his staff and close the waters, they all got washed away. Some of you who might be knowing who is Ron Wyatt. So he's one of the archaeologists who has found different proof of the biblical stories, including the Red Sea crossing, and then he shows a lot of evidence about the Red Sea bed, where he's found different artifacts, not artifacts, it's more like corals growing on top of human remains out there. So he's able to find human bones and chariot wheels. So if you notice, the floor of the Red Sea is pure sand. So corals will normally not grow when it is just sand. They need something to grow on top of. So here, when you see we can see human remains like bones and chariot wheels. This video that I'll be showing to you shows all of these things. And since these were some of Pharaoh's best chariots, some of them were gold plated. So corals don't grow on gold. So if you see some of these pictures, it shows a chariot wheel still shining of gold, but coral was not able to grow in that. So this is again some evidence that God has kept out there in the Red Sea, so that we can even now get to see these pictures and appreciate what happened in the past. These are some of the artifacts that were taken from the sea. These are bones that was fished from the Red Sea. And later we'll get to see some corals that were formed in the riverbed. So this looks like a rib cage that has now become corals. These are horse hoofs. And then you have corals that have grown on top of a wheel. So these are like found scattered all throughout the sea. And corals can only be formed if there is something to grow on top of it. The Red Sea is having a base of only sand. So because of these bones and chariot pieces, the corals were able to grow on top of them. You can see here, these are the spoke of the chariot wheels, which were not made of gold, so that's why corals have been able to grow. But later you'll get to see some gold rimmed wheels, and because corals don't grow on gold, so here this is the one. Can you see the shining gleam of the wheel? And because it's gold plated, corals couldn't grow on top of it. This is another one. We're living in a pandemic season where everybody is afraid about the next day. Will we be alive tomorrow? Who do we trust our lives with? So when we as human beings, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 1 hour, but God knows what's going to happen in our future. So we should stop trusting in our abilities, our intellect, our past wisdom. And when God is leading us through certain situations in our life, the more we completely trust in God, He will make a way through. Though humanly it's not possible for a way to appear, God will make that happen because we know that He is a way maker. I hope all of you are able to learn something from today's devotion. There are a lot of stories that we can see in the Bible, which is given there so that we can learn something from it and imbibe in our lives. So what we can learn from this story, and we can always take back with us, is that God will make a way sometimes when it looks in our human eyes that it is impossible for a way to be there. But that is God. When we entrust our safety, our security to God, He is going to direct us in a path which is going to be more than what we ever imagined. So I would encourage all of you to keep trusting in God, and no matter what way God takes you through, just keep trusting God and keep walking. Take care. Have a nice day.